The Watch Knights, while defending the Archilles Nebula, were called to the planet Nola 4, an abandoned Imperial site that had been destroyed by raiders with the opening of the Great Rift. They had been called there because an Imperial transport, the ITS Sebastian, carrying loads of blackstone as well as psychoreactic crystals needed to create the hub fortress, had been shot down and destroyed by corsairs of the Eldar. They had arrived in time to try to secure the material that had been scattered on the planet's surface and secure the crash site. Upon arriving at the crash site, they discovered Eldar craft world forces, not corsairs, attempting to recover the cargo. A Watch Knight Eliminator sniper team was able to ambush a group of Eldari Rangers, taking out the Exarch Iliac. Phobos librarian Tiberius then led the incursors into hand-to-hand where they finished off the Eldari Rangers. Lieutenant Vespasian then led the rest of the Watch Knights into the hold in order to secure it. Eldari forces began to swarm forward, eager to retake the cargo hold. They then launched a furious counterattack in an effort to drive back the Watch Knights. The Watch Knights continued their assault, taking out the Falcon Grav tank and advancing into the horde of Guardians and pushing them back temporarily before they were able to take out the Invictor Warsuit. An Eldari Autarch, along with a squad of Guardians, was able to drive off Librarian Tiberius before they were surrounded in turn and wiped out by Lieutenant Vespasian and his infiltrator squad. A hail strike then arrived and managed to drive back the Eldari after strafing their positions. The Eldari then withdrew from the site, leaving the Watch Knights in possession of the field, where they proceeded to secure as much blackstone and psychoreactic material as they could, and left the rest of the site to be retrieved and excavated later by follow-on Mechanicum forces. 2 weeks after the withdrawal of the Watch Knights, left-behind monitoring stations and surveillance devices detected kin forces on Nolan 4 beginning to mine the site, and there they were sighted clashing with Eldari Craftworld forces again. Kin forces inflicted punishing losses upon the Eldar as they vied for control of the site. But in the end, the Eldari were able to rout and defeat the Kin, wiping most of them out, allowing the Eldari to continue to excavate and retrieve the remaining materials from the site for their own nefarious purposes. Meanwhile, the Watch Knights had been dispatched to the world of Taxus II, a Mechanicus-held world where a revolt was underway, being led by the Death Guard. The Death Guard were attempting to move a doomsday device of some sort out from their area of control and into the Mechanicum area of control. They were attempting to follow a wedge of expendable demonic vehicles used by Ushirabi the Winnower. The Watch Knights were attempting to move a Mechanicus device using Blackstone to detonate it into the area where the rebellion was taking place. The Blackstone device was expected to cut off the warp influence and thus cripple the rebellion, allowing for an easy mop-up by the remaining Mechanicum forces. After initial exchanges of fire, the Watch Knights deep struck behind the Death Guard lines, launching a flurry of shots into the rear of the Death Guard formations. The Gladiator Valiant was then able to take out the Death Guard Predator, evening up the odds, even as an Infernus squad struck the flank of the wedge of armored demonic vehicles, and the Inceptors struck the zombie horde that was pushing the Death Guard Doomsday device. A Death Guard Hellbrute counterattacked, trying to drive off the Inceptors and get the device moving again towards Imperial lines. Remaining demon engines attempted to stop the Watch Knights from deploying their own device from the Mechanicum, but they were then surrounded and destroyed by the Gladiator Valiant and the Infernus squad, with the Hailstrike and Thunderstrike finishing off the Hellbrute, leaving the Watch Knights in sole possession of the field. Tech Marine Euripides, along with the remaining Inceptor, were then able to disable the Death Guard device and were even able to extract some Blackstone from it to be used in their own projects. Meanwhile, the Mechanicum device was detonated in the zone of the rebels And with that happening and the warp then cut off from the rebellion, the mechanical forces were then able to move in swiftly and put down the rebellion. All right, as far as upgrades go, Lieutenant Vespasian managed to win a battle honor, and with that we gave him a weapon enhancement right from the main book. He has now got a masterworked armor-piercing combat knives. So he is +1 to damage and -1 AP. Next stop for battle honors, Squad Dis, after they took out Iliac and won the MVP for the first game. They received the Raiders upgrade from the new Pariah Nexus book. So they are going to be re-rolling 1s to hit whenever they're targeting a unit that is on top of an objective. The next unit to win battle honors was Squad Pregatus. For them, I had a little bit of trouble deciding what to give them, and I ended up giving them Purity Seals. So they have a 5+ invuln save versus psychic attacks. And I went with Purity Seals in the end just because it kind of fit more of the fluff. They are more the fanatical, what you come to expect from the Imperium. Fanatical burn, holy cleansing fire. So Purity Seals seemed like a good pick for them. Next up, we have the Thunderstrike. The Thunderstrike, we went to the Pariah Nexus book, and we gave him the Tank Hunter vehicle upgrade. And each time he makes an attack that targets a monster or a vehicle, it allows him to re-roll the wound roll of 1. So if he rolled a 1 for a wound roll, he gets to re-roll it. And then we have the Gladiator Valiant, which also got a battle honor. And for that, we gave it Resilient Machine Spirit. And basically, it just adds 2 to the model's wound characteristic. Now, with the points we gained from the last few battles, we gained 4. We spent both our requisition points to give us an additional 400 points of supply. We had 45 points left over. However, after the last point increase, we ended up coming out an additional 30 points ahead. So we had 475 points to spend on adding to the Watch Knights Crusade force. And the first thing we picked up is Reaver Squad Long Knives. We added them just to add to our Vanguard detachment for the most part. Give them a little bit more hand-to-hand hit, and they just kind of fit in nice. Next up, we added in a 5-man Hellblaster squad, and we added them to increase its ability with the Anvil Siege Force that I'd like to eventually run, as well as the Firestorm Force, have them drive around in an impulsor, jump out, and hammer, and using some of those stratagems. I think they'll be a good addition even in Gladius for the army, and that's why we picked them. We also picked up an Impulsor, another one, just to add to the Firestorm Force as well as the Gladius Force. We'd like as much as the army to be mechanized at different times as possible. It's a good solid upgrade, solid anti-infantry defense, and a lot of firepower, plus of the transport squads. Next, we added a unit of heavy intercessors. They're going to be used as part of the Anvil Siege Force, and they make a good addition to the army with high toughness, good staying power, and the ability to lay down a lot of heavy, painful fire on high-value units. Finally, we added the Librarian Jugurtha. Jugurtha is in Terminator honors. He'll be the start of an additional force. We got to paint up some Terminators to go with him. And he'll be helping to lead the Watch Knights in the future. Now, with him added, we are left with 10 points left over for the rest of the Crusade to go into additional purchases. That'll be later. However, as it stands right now in the Crusade, we have 12 honor points with 1 more game to finish that campaign. And so far, we've managed to collect 7 Blackstone fragments at this point. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe down below. Thank you.